Hi, welcome to another edition of Mindful Moments with
Dr. Alexis.
So, Dr. Alexis, what do you have for us today?
Well, you may have noticed that we have a quiet punch. It's a punching bag. We are currently in quarantine, so we just have this little at-home boxing bag. Otherwise, we'd be at a boxing gym with a very nice heavy bag.
Yeah.
But we adapt and we make do. And fortunately, I got one of these for my birthday a couple years. Thank you so much. So we're going to be practicing with this.
Yeah, and when it comes to, mindfulness,
Yep.
doing mindfulness with boxing is amazing. It's a
yeah.
great way to be mindful. A lot of people think of mindfulness as yoga and meditation, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those are excellent things. If they work for you, does not work for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not really one of the kind of sit still kind of people. And
no.
so I have found my mindfulness practice works best for me when I'm moving.
Yep.
And I have learned the hard way, which I don't want you to have to learn the hard way. You must be mindful while boxing, because otherwise you're going to get hit in the face either by your opponent or the bag itself, which is pretty embarrassing.
Amazing point. So if you can't do it right, you have to pay attention to do it right. That's the key component, the basics of mindfulness.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking through mindfulness, what it is, and how to do it while boxing.
Awesome. All right.
Let's do it. Okay, so if you have your gear at home, go ahead and grab it. I have, what are these called again?
Quick gloves?
Quick gloves. These are new to me. I usually just use boxing gloves, but they're really nice because you could just throw them on. Otherwise, you get your wraps, which look something like this when they're rolled up. And then you go through the process of wrapping them. I'm going to do another video to kind of show you that process and how you could even be mindful and kind of meditative while you're preparing for boxing by wrapping your hands. So
that's cool.
Go ahead, and if you have your wraps, wrap up your hands, put on some gloves. Otherwise, if you have some speed gloves, these are really simple. You just kind of put them on like gloves. Some people could go free-handed. I'm not going to recommend it for liability reasons, but I can't see what you're doing. So, if you are going free-handed, then just don't hit too hard, okay? So when we're talking about mindfulness, we're talking about 3 different aspects. Number 1 is what most people know about mindfulness is about centering yourself, grounding yourself, and being very present in the moment. And the way you do that is by bringing your 5 senses into that moment with you. So while you're boxing, what do you see around you? If you have a bag with you, typically they have this really delicate but very strong texture to the material. You might see the other people around you. You might see the equipment. Here we currently have our cat with us. I see him. So what you see, what you hear as you're boxing, you're gonna hear the rhythm. If you're watching a video or getting instruction while you're boxing, you're also gonna hear the music. It's gonna pump you up probably. There's also aroma, which is part of your 5 senses. So unfortunately, if you're being mindful, you're gonna go ahead and just be aware of the aroma in the room with you. And talk about not judging that in a minute. Also, what did I say? Sight, sound, smell, touch. Feel the gloves on you. Feel your feet grounded in the floor. There's different footing positions that your instructors will teach you. You'll even feel the whatever kind of like rubbery cushion they have on the floor. It's kind of bouncy. Just pay attention to all of those little things. And then the 5th one that we'll talk about, it's not all of our senses, but the 5 main ones, is taste. And so if you have any kind of flavor in your mouth, maybe you had lunch right before your boxing, which I don't recommend, or you just had chewed some gum, just whatever flavors in your mouth, just bring your awareness to that. That's the main aspect of mindfulness that people know about. There's 2 other really key points to it. The second one is not judging it. So whatever you're being mindful about in that moment, there's no judgment. It just is. I kind of cringed a bit about how it smells in most gyms, but if I'm truly being mindful and not judging it, then it is. It smells like sweat. It smells moist. It just is. And also, when you're thinking about the non-judgment aspect, in addition to being mindful of your environment and your sensations, you'll also be mindful about your thoughts and the emotions that are coming up for you. And with that second piece of not judging it, you're not going to judge whatever comes up. So while you're boxing, whatever is going on in your life, feel it. I mean, this is a great outlet for you. So if you're feeling stressed, you're just going to go ahead and feel stressed while you're boxing. If you're feeling sad, feel it. That's fine. If you're feeling happy and upbeat, bring it. Whatever it is, bring it to the bag. No judgment. Same thing with your thoughts. If you have a lot in your mind, notice them and then bring your attention back to the present moment. Okay? When I first started boxing, it was because I was working with Child Protective Services, and I was doing a lot of heavy case child trauma, and I needed some kind of outlet to let go of all of the abuse that I saw out there in our communities, and boxing helped me get through it. Now, when I was boxing, I kept on noticing thoughts of abusers or trauma cases that were coming up for me, and I had to be very mindful to not imagine someone's face on the bag, even though I really wanted to, and instead started focusing on whatever emotions I was feeling. So if I was feeling stress or anger, the bag became the stress that I was just kind of tearing down, or the anger that I was tearing down. And so you're just being very present in the moment with your emotions. And those thoughts, let them come in and out, and bring your attention back to the bag. And the third piece is be present in this moment. You're not focusing on the past, not worried about the future. You're in the here and now. And you're not attached from moment to moment. You're just moving through it. And with your boxing classes, I'm sure they're gonna keep you moving and in the moment, because if you're distracted, again, you're gonna fall behind or you're gonna get hit. So this is a great practice for you. We could go ahead and do some movements for the most part, but I'm not a boxing expert. So here, let's go over some basics. All right. So I'm just your neighborhood psychologist going over some of the basic boxing moves. Definitely take a class and consult with an actual boxing coach. Hi, Long Beach Boxing United. It's been a while since I've had like official instruction, so I'm sorry if I screwed this up, but these are pretty like 90% sure, like some of the basics that I go over in my classes. All right, so first of all, you have your stance. You kind of have this like box stance. And then you're just gonna go through some numbers. So you first start off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you're kind of going in order. You're starting each time with your left and then ending with your right. And you'll notice that it's very much controlled. So your hands are always up by your face because you're protecting your face. So you have to be really mindful about where your hands are, because if you're left exposed, that's where an opponent can come and get you. So you always have one hand up here, the other hand is on the bag or your opponent. And you'll notice that it's a full body move. It's not just your fists. So it's your hips that are driving a lot of the force. You come back, force. It's your whole body. And you're even down to your toes. Your feet lift up when you do it. Bam. And that's really cool because it's a really like unifying practice, boxing. It's not just one piece of you, it's your whole body that builds your strength and your resilience in this practice. And it makes you really mindful about what each of your body parts are doing, which is really great to help kind of those distracting thoughts, because it's really difficult to think about everything else when you're just really one and centered with your body. So those are a few of the basic moves. Again, start off here, left, 1, right, 2, then you do your hook, 3, 4, undercut, 5, and 6. And from that combination, and then you could go down to the body. And then you can bring in legs and elbows and all kinds of stuff. But that's some of the basic work. If you're starting out, there's a great app that I'm gonna show you guys. It's called Fight Club. Especially now during COVID-19, they have a lot of free classes that you could take from the comfort of your own home. And then there's boxing gyms in like every city. So go check them out and get some instruction and practice mindfully. I do not know how to juggle even with just 2 things. Okay, so these are a sample of your wraps that you would receive for boxing. Mine used to be red. They're kind of like a cherry color now. And I have rolled them up. I'm not gonna teach you how to do that. There's things online to do that. Okay, and so when you get your wraps, there's gonna be a little ribbon in there and you're gonna put it on your thumb. And then the folded part, you're gonna have that against your skin. And you're just going to wrap that around your wrist. And the whole point of using wraps is to strengthen and protect your hand. And I define it as strengthen because you're really helping your wrist become one with your arm. And you're making sure that your wrist isn't going to do any like kind of weird stuff while it's in your glove. And you'll notice there's a lot of fabric here. And so while you're wrapping, it's kind of a long process. So when you're going to a gym class, do not show up right when the class starts. I've made that mistake many times. And instead go about like, maybe 15 minutes early. So that way you could take your time and wrap your hands. Now, if you're new at this, there will be coaches there to help you. And you'll notice that I'm just going around my wrist and then bringing it up in between my fingers. And around my wrist. This time I'll do it twice because we're gonna go hit the thumb up, over through, and then wrap. This one I was a little distracted, so I didn't give my knuckles as much protection, but you'll definitely want to wrap it around there a little bit more. So while I'm wrapping my hands, sometimes I'm in transition. I'm usually coming back from work and I'm processing my day and I'm thinking about all of the crap that maybe went down, and I'm transitioning my mind between what has been going on, what I need to do next, and just focusing on the here and now, protecting my hands, being with my hands and with my body, and being in this moment. Wrap around your knuckles, that takes a big impact. You can even do some deep breathing while you're doing this. And you're listening to the sounds. You're feeling the textures. Maybe processing some emotions from the day. And this is your transition time. This is when you're saying, okay, whatever went on today has happened. Now, this is my me time. And I'm just going to be in the moment and be mindful with my mind, my thoughts, my emotions, and my body for this next hour. I'm gonna gift that to myself. And that's what these wraps represent. So wrap up your hands. If you're new or distracted, go to a coach, they'll do it for you and they'll teach you. There's also other tutorials online as well, but either way, while you're doing it, the psychologist is telling you to use this time to transition into your practice. Hope this helps. Thanks, and I will see you for another mindful moment.